I'm always so amused by the way that life works. I've recently taken on several senior female managers in a variety of companies, and every single one of them has included in her coaching goals how to deal with aggressive men in the workplace. And then on top of that, I had the opportunity to write an article on exactly the same topic. And it was for another publication. And I'm sharing that article with you. And in that article, I give you some tips and some ideas on how to handle what women experience as aggressive men. I think it might actually be more appropriate to say that the goal is how to handle yourself in the face of men who you experience as aggressive. Now, some of those men that we experience as aggressive are just being bullies. Some of them are playing the adult version of competitive boy games. But it doesn't really matter what the catalyst is for the behavior. It doesn't matter if what they're trying to do is silence you, make you look incompetent, question whether or not you know what you're doing, bully you, establish their dominance. It doesn't matter what the reason is. There are some tools and tactics that can help you to deal with it. The first thing that you need to understand is it probably isn't about you. And if you can detach yourself from any sense that this is personal, it's about you, it's about the fact that this person has an issue with you, doesn't think you should be in your job, let that one go. It's got nothing to do with you. It's much more likely about what is going on for that man. That man is in a room with other senior dominant people and he needs to establish his position in the pecking order, or you are proposing something that he regards as a threat. It doesn't really matter, but know that this is about something that's going on for this man. Secondly, understand that girls and boys are raised differently. Boys grow up playing competitive games. Their forms of discipline are quite instant and quite shocking is not quite the right word, but most often a boy will get a smack or a sharp reprimand and then it's over. Girls' games are relational, and when girls are playing, there's often the risk that the relationship will be lost. And the same is true in the way that girls are disciplined. They are often disciplined with the threat of loss of love. If you do that, mommy's not going to be happy with you. So just understand that these things translate into what happens in the workplace. The same competitiveness and the same relational issues with girls. The next, I think, relates to a kind of bullying. I had an interesting conversation this morning about cyberbullying, and I have dealt with my clients with the issue of being bullied in the workplace. I raised my son to be able to deal with bullies in the schoolyard, although he was growing up before cyberbullying was a factor. But the fact of the matter is that the tactics are exactly the same. There's only two things to do with a bully. You either get out of the ring or you give the bully a bloody nose, not necessarily in a physical sense, but you come back at them with a response that deals with the issue straight away. Having said that, when you are experiencing bullying or male aggression in the context of a meeting room, and it's normally when there are more than two people there. There has to be an audience for this kind of thing. And so when you are experiencing this kind of interaction, it is very, very normal for you to go into a defensive reaction. You feel as though you are in danger. Your pituitary gland gives you a jolt of adrenaline. Your brain is bathed in cortisol and your prefrontal cortex shuts down and you can't think of what to say. And that is why being prepared and rehearsing your responses is so important. Never go into a meeting or a presentation without thinking about who is in your audience. What do you know about those people? What do they typically do? Have you seen them respond to other people? Have you seen them respond to other women? What is likely? And then you are able to plan your response. So when your prefrontal cortex has shut down, as it does when you are anxious and nervous, it's very difficult to think of a novel response. But if you have rehearsed, you can draw on a memory of what you will do. This is not unlike pilots who spend time in the flight simulator. Why do they spend time in the flight simulator? Because they can't work out what to do when they are in an emergency. But what they can do is they can draw on their memory. And that's what you need to do. You need to be prepared. You need to have your answers. You need to know what you will say. And that is going to be the best way of dealing with anyone, male or female, who you experience as aggressive, anyone who seems to be bullying you. But the other thing that needs to be remembered is the boardroom is like the playground. It's competitive. We fight to win. One of us wins, one of us loses, and then we go off and we have gyros and cookies. In the boardroom, we may go off and have a beer or a glass of wine. And you need to do that too, and be willing to engage and willing to be part of the conversation, because the competition is over. The game is over. I hope that there is something here that will help you. And if you want to know some more, or you want to send me your question in a direct message or an email, I would love to bounce some ideas around with you.